Hello, thank you again for being here. My name is Dejiola in Ireland. Today, again, this is the Diaspora panel, the voice of the diaspora. I have with me in the house, I have Mr. Olaito Adedigba, who is based in the United States of America. Mr. Adedigba, you are welcome to today's meeting.
Thanks for having me.
I also have Mr. Olalawal, who is based in Canada. Mr. Lawal, you are welcome to today's meeting.
Thank you for having me this morning.
We have a guest in the house today, Dr. Tayo Awudia, who is currently holidaying in Canada. Mr. Dr. Awudia, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Right. So we are missing one of our panelists, Mr. Ademola Desa. We don't know why he has not joined, but we hope that he might join us while during the program. So today we are going to discuss Nigerian oil thieves, those who are stealing 90% of Nigeria's oil. Just before we go into this conversation, I want to thank all our subscribers, especially those who subscribed last week. We have a lot of subscribers. Thank you for your subscription. And if you are one of our viewers, if you will be watching our videos, but you have not subscribed, please push that subscription button. It's free of charge. You are not going to be charged for it. It's completely free. And if you like any of our video, please click like and send it to your friends, and then so that they also will see our videos. So let me start with you, Light, since you are the first person in the studio. A few weeks back, we saw an information, in the press that a 4-kilometer pipe was discovered. Was discovered 4 kilometers into the sea from onshore to offshore. And this 4-kilometer pipe actually led to a rig, where ships are coming in and they are offloading from there, and they are going out. So, Lighter, do you think this could have been done without the Nigerian government or the powers that been knowing about it?
Yeah, the Nigerian government might not know about it, but the powerful people in the government, the presidency, so to say, they might be aware, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to shed Nigerian government from the various activities going on in the escravos.
Yeah.
But the point is, this thing, they are powerful cartel there doing this thing.
Yeah.
And it's not just 9 years ago. They've started this since 1983. Like one of the expatriates said, that he's been flying that place, he's been seeing it not 9 years ago. He said it's more than he's been seeing it since 1983. He has a Navy friend that was trying to debar people from all these nefarious activities there. But they called him that this is not what we are asked to do here. And they posted him to War College. So that goes a long way to tell you that the president may not know about it, the vice president they might not know, but some powerful cartels there, they are doing this thing in collaboration with military. Why should the military, the Navy, who are supposed to man that place, to comb everything going on there, they look other side, and they said every night the police patrol, the Navy patrol, the Army patrol, they normally come there to come and collect money. From who? What job are they doing here to collect money? They're collecting pipes, kickbacks from reportage. And we are just, it's economy sabotage. Everybody, we should live up to expectation, right? We should be upright in everything that is going on there. Your place I wouldn't know what to say about the whole situation there. Is for God's sake, we need, this is our country. We don't have any country except that country. We should be able to monitor these people, tell a report. That is where the question of community policing comes in. Right. Like I was saying, like I was telling you before the commencement of this meeting, that the money given to Tompolo is worthwhile. Right. So we need these people. It's organized cartel that they are doing this stuff, and everybody must be brought to book. Everybody involved must be brought to book. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lighton. Shupo, you are next. You're an engineer. You've actually worked for an oil company before. You've worked on a rig, so you know what it's all about. Now, the question I want to answer is it possible? Is it possible to have a rig within Nigeria's territorial waters and the federal government doesn't know about it? And ships are coming in, they are loading on this rig and they are going out. Now, any ship that comes to Nigerian territory, they must first of all be verified by the Navy. They come in, they load ship. When they're going out, they also be allowed out. So how possible is it for us to have a 4-kilometer pipe going to a rig, and ships are loading and they are exiting, and there is no record? Nobody knew about it. How possible is that?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me this morning. I think the simple answer to your question, not to beat around the bush, is that it is not possible. I mean, these are not small infrastructure that are spawned up in one day. These are infrastructure that actually requires due process, a lot of regulatory related processes before they can be approved, and then before they're actually built and commissioned. So, it's not something just, simple that, a mom and pop shop can just spring up somewhere. So, and I think that brings actually a couple of things that I think is important for viewers to understand. What this shows, first and foremost, is that corruption in Nigeria is institutionalized. That is a very, very important thing. Corruption is not perpetrated by, people who, don't understand the system or who are not, in the helm of affairs. It is actually perpetrated by institutions, led by corrupt officials. Corrupt officials who, rather than using their knowledge for the benefit of the country, are using it for their own benefit and for the benefit of whoever they are doing it on behalf. So that's, I think, is very, very important for us to understand. Secondly, corruption in Nigeria is done by people in high places. Look, it is not possible for an average Jew to have, built that pipeline, operated it for that many years, and actually meander around all of the processes, that are supposed to be in place, the Navy, the NNPC and all that. So no corrupt official that was employed by any of these agencies could have been able to do this on their own. They have people in high places who they are doing it for. So these things, I think, it's important for Nigerians to understand. One, corruption is institutionalized and it is done by people in high places. Now, how does this connect to the 2023 elections? It is impossible for a corrupt person to clean up corruption. This is where we are at as a country. I will be very honest. When Tompolo was when his company was given that contract, I was one of the naysayers that said nothing will ever come out of it. That, I saw it as a way just to settle him and keep him quiet. But I will be very, very honest, and I must apologize. That man has gone way beyond my expectations. For anybody in Nigeria to actually come out openly and expose corruption at this level, that man has courage. It takes courage to challenge wrongdoing, corruption that has gone on for many years. What I'm interested in is to see what the outcome of this is going to be. Now we know that there are illegal pipelines. Now we know that ships have been offloading, have been loading oil and taking it away. And we know for a fact that the money has not been coming into government coffers. What is going to come out of it? Who are those responsible? And will they be brought to the book? That is the question, I think, for the Nigerian government. And I think we'll wait to see what will happen.
Thank you very much, Shupo. So, Dr. Awudia, I'm coming to you now. Just before I ask you the question, I want to welcome Mr. Ademola Disa to the meeting. Mr. Disa, you are welcome to today's meeting.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and just to let you know, and for our viewer also, we are discussing Nigeria oil thieves. All the what's been going on in the Nigeria oil sector. That's what we are discussing here today. So, Dr. Awudia, I want to ask you, if you are the president of Nigeria and you have given a job to Tompolo, in just 1 week, in one state, he has found 64 illegal tappings. 64 illegal tappings. And up to right now, those pipes, they have not turned up the tap. The oil is still flowing through them. And the people, they are still stealing this oil. Right now, as we speak, they have not turned it up. Dr. Awudia, what do you think is going on in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me the floor. What I would like us to understand first and foremost is when we talk about government, government is not an individual. Government is an institution. So if you are the president, you are the VP, we have three arms of government: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative arm of government. So in this instance, we are talking about the executive. And when you are talking about the executive arm of government, you are talking about the Nigeria Police Force, you are talking about the Nigeria Army, you are talking about the Navy and Civil Defense, and all other organs. What's the name? All the security arms of government. These are the people we are calling government. So if you say the president or that the government is not aware of it, I think that is begging the question, really. That the government is not aware of it. If a lance corporal in the Nigerian Police Force is aware of what is going on, the government is aware. That's the meaning. Because the issue of social contract comes into being here. We have signed off on our rights and have considered our rights to an arm and organize the institution. And that is what we call government. And in exchange for that, they are to provide us with security, they are to guarantee our welfare and stuff like that. So that the government is not aware of it is I refuse to agree to that, because we all read this in the news, and we are aware that whichever way you want to look at it, there is no way, even if it is 100 meters, even if it is from one point, there is no way we can say that the government is not aware of it. So nobody should exonerate the government, and nobody should absolve the government of any culpability in this matter. That is it. So now, Tompolo, maybe I know a little about him. Tompolo, some years back, maybe 7 to 8 years ago, was appointed by NIMASA to oversee security of cabotage along our coastal lines in Nigeria. So he was appointed to do that. So I think he has a pedigree when it comes to that. Now coming to the issue of, okay, I now being the president and this has come out, and what is the president going to do about it? Of course, we know that I know for a fact, I should assume, don't let me say I know for a fact, I should assume that some things are being done, even though we know that this has been going on for so many years. Now that this is now known to everybody, I want to assume that something is being done, which of course, it's like you are now fighting corruption. If indeed we have the might, if indeed we are committed to fighting corruption, I want to assume you want to fight this. That is why this has been allowed to come out for everybody to know.
Okay.
So, and in that wise, I believe that some things must be going on underground. And I pray and I hope that they will not just kill the process. We expect to know more about this, what is being done, and now those people will be brought to book. That's the only thing we live on in Nigeria.
Okay.
Anyway, let me just rest my case at this point.
Thank you, Dr. Awadia. That was a very, very powerful contribution, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for those words. So, Demola, I'm going to come over to you now. So I want you to, talk about something which I think we should all know about. 1 week into when Tompolo was given this job, the House of Rep, the committee in charge of, sorry, can we mute, please? Can we mute? Can we mute? If you are not talking, please mute. Okay. So now the House of Rep, the committee, they now say that they are actually going into the Niger Delta to see what Tobolo have discovered. So then once they made that statement, the head of the NNPC quickly rushed down to Niger Delta to go and say, yeah, we found something. But that's been there for about 7 years. They didn't find it. But immediately, the members of the House of Rep say they want to go down there and see this for themselves. The head of the NNPC and I think the chief, is it the minister, and what's the name of the head of the army, also went there. You know, say, yeah, we found a 4-kilometer pipeline, but they didn't find it last year. They didn't find it 2 years ago. They didn't find it 7 years ago. They found it when members of the House of Rep are now going there to see for themselves. And yesterday they found another pipe that actually led to into the sea also, to an Ajib, and they say it's an Ajib pipeline. So Demola, do you think there is foreign collaboration with what is going on?
Oh, thank you, Deji. What is going on is not just the foreign collaboration. There are local, state, and federal collaboration, including the foreign collaboration as well. And there is collaboration at all levels of the armed forces. The police, the civil defense, the Nigerian armed forces, and the Nigerian Navy. They are all aware of this. They can't claim ignorance or they are aloof about what is going on. They all know it. And we all know it a long time. It's not 8 years, it's not 10 years. It's over 19 years that all these things have been going on. And right from the time of the military up to the civil war, we now have the Second Republic. They have been doing it all along, and people have been crying. And what is even very worrisome is, if you look at our democracy, at each level of government and each level of administration, the head of state, the president himself, has always taken responsibility for the management of NNPC. So if they say they don't know what is going on with all this theft, it's a lie. Now, it has come out now, it has boomerang now. Let's hope, because if you look at previous, there are a lot of previous revelation that people have cried, but they have been subdued. They have been covered under the ground, and they have been humiliated or threatened, and they kept short. But this time around now, it's coming up openly, and people are really talking about it, and they have not been able, I don't say they will not be able to, they have not been able so far to cover it all. So it's not that we are not, we know that there are foreign collaboration. Look, all those platforms where they are loading this oil into the sea cannot be done as if without people knowing about it. It's not something. It's not something that you do in secret. So everybody, the community know it. The areas where these things are being mined, they know it. The chiefs, everybody in that community know about it. And everybody is keeping short. Either they are being threatened or they're afraid of their life, or they are also being benefiting from it. So it's not a one, it's not a government, it's not only the federal government, the president or the government. The governors in all of those states know about them. So what we now do, what are we going to do about it? Can we put an end to it? Not only on oil theft alone, we are talking of oil theft. There are other minerals that have been theft as well. So we need to address it. It's a whole something that needs to be addressed once and for all, for our country to prosper and for her to have sanity. Because this thing is not only affecting, the theft is just little thing. The after effect of the theft is another thing. Because that is what is breeding all this criminality. This is what is breeding all this arrogance of the politicians, because they don't feel accountable. That's why they don't feel accountable. That's why they feel they're above the law. Okay. So to put sanity in this, we need to put all these two together.
Okay, thank you, Demola, and thank you for that wonderful contribution. Like I'm coming over to you. There's so many questions I want to ask, but because of time factor, I want to discuss something also important. Now, we have a country where, as Demola just said, it's not only oil. In Sanfora, seeing situation where people are mining their own gold, and even their state government is actually buying this gold from this artisanal, was it artisanal, or what they call them, miners. And the Sanfora government is keeping this gold for itself. But the security agencies, they are not running after them. They are not, they are not arresting anybody. But when somebody, one of the local boys in the south, when they mine oil and produce kerosene, they go after them, they destroy all their camp, they destroy all their equipment. So I am thinking that the country has failed these people. These are people, most of them are graduates, first-class graduates in different, in different subjects. But the country failed them because the country is unable to provide jobs for them. And these boys, instead of them turning into thieves and kidnappers and what sort, they are now using their knowledge to tap oil, which is in their backyard. We belong to them anyway. We belong to their nation anyway. And they are tapping this oil, and then you are now arresting them and you are destroying all their equipment. I am thinking, just like the federal government gave a lot of money to these herdsmen, they are putting up a lot of, what do they call them, where they camp all their cows. I think there's a Ruga, trying to do Ruga for them and help them. Why can the federal government not, put these boys together in a form of, company, and, arrange money for them to set up a refinery, set up different refineries so that these boys can actually become an instrument of employment in Nigeria, instead of destroying them. And then these boys now, they go back to the society, no means of livelihood. And then what are they going to do? They become something else. Please unmute, Lighton. Please unmute.
Our family has been saying it here, that we are not in the same country, the south and the north. Right? It is all, they will pamper the bandit. They will give them money. They will give them money to resettle them. But in Nigeria, they will come and kill Sunday Igboho and his boys. They will lay ambush for Kanu, massive Kanu. So we are not war in Nigeria. So what we are saying in essence is, anybody, an agreement is an agreement. Anybody that doesn't have, we resorted into self-help. because we want to eat, we want to have better life. Ordinarily, if government are provided an enabling environment, a serious intervention is there on the ground, nobody will resort into refining crude now. Nobody will be going to gold. The law is there, but nobody follow it. Nobody, before you can, you should have license to deal. I mean, to have gemstones, all this stuff. But nobody is getting license. Nobody is paying government any funds. Before they can do, they just go there, they assume, they scavenge for gold, tantalizer, tantalite, all these precious stones, and they sell it to the government. The government is even encouraging them to go and do it. But here in Oshun, you see the same northerner, they scavenge, they destroy all our land in the Ijesha land. So nobody is even after them. Nobody dare to say no. Once we arrest them, they will come from Abuja, release them immediately, or else we'll be fired. So we are not in the same country. Some people are superior than others in Nigeria, right? So, and where there is no justice, I mean, where there is no peace, there will not be any justice. There is no peace in Nigeria. There is no, everybody will just wake up, you do whatever you like. And that is not how to run the country. Like I told you, I set an example when a friend was telling me an issue. I said, no, you don't do this. In America, when you see somebody who's doing something bad, you report. In Nigeria, you will not do it. If anybody is tapping lights in Nigeria, you will not say anything. You will just be looking, you want to do it. But that is why these people are greater than us. They are better than us. They want to protect everything that belongs to them. Are you telling me those people, it's an organized cartel there in the Niger Delta? The people are who lay pipe. The Shell, they lay pipe to the Shell. They all these oil companies, multinational companies in Nigeria, they are aware. The Navy, they are aware. Everybody, they are aware now. So the police are not doing anything. They collect money, they collect bribes from them. The Navy, they collect bribes. Before there is in Lloyd's, the amount of crude oil going down from Nigeria, every day they know it. Okay. They know where they are going.
Okay.
Their destination. Okay.
Lighton, let me pause you there. Thank you for those wonderful words on Marvel. Shukwa, please unmute. Shukwa, we have a policy, or the Nigerian government has a policy. The policy is that they go after these, oil thieves. But most of the time, they're actually going after those little boys, onshore, who are just the oil is only in drums. They're not going after the ships. When in about 1 month or so ago, we saw a situation whereby a ship with about 2 million barrels of oil loaded was actually in Nigerian waters and were intercepted by Nigerian Navy. And the Nigerian Navy said, and they could not catch this. They could not catch this tank. The Nigerian Navy warship was run. A commercial ship outran a naval ship. I've never had that before in my life. And it took a small country like Equatorial Guinea. It took their naval to arrest this ship. So, but that's not actually the subject. What I'm driving at is that now we have a situation whereby we have people in the Niger Delta who are suffering, who are very poor. You have not provided job for these people. You have not provided any kind of social welfare, no palliative, no nothing. And these boys, they are now turning in their backyard, going to their own backyard and drilling oil and producing kerosene and selling it, and you're shooting them, and you're just destroying them and say, you can go to hell. You're not giving them any job. You're not organizing nothing. You just destroy them. Is that the right kind of policy?
No, it is not. But I mean, if you look at the political landscape in Nigeria, I don't think anyone should be surprised, because if you look at leadership generally in Nigeria, they are old men who have passed their prime. I'm sorry to say that.
No.
They are tired, they are exhausted, and they are out of ideas. I mean, let's just be blunt. The right policy would have been, when you see local talent, and when you see people who are trying to do something so that they don't get involved in, in other types of crimes, financial crimes or anything, is you give them incentives. What a good country will do is you will get these boys together, put a structure together for them where they can actually own small companies, give them licenses, maintain standards that, for whatever activities that they are doing, and have oversight, and let them run. They will employ people, they will make money, because this is their society. They will do those activities in a clean way that will not have repercussions to their environment. Because guess what? If it does, it's their uncles, their aunts that will be unable to fish and farm on those lands. That is all what, and then the government can then take taxes, from the proceeds of their activity. The government can also help them, band their activities together so that their materials can be exported. But you need leaders with these types of ideas to be able to implement policies that will actually turn people into entrepreneurs and job creators than people who are solely dependent on government. Another policy that I think is important for Nigeria is to actually allow states to develop their own resources. Let states develop whatever resources they have. You can put a structure around how these resources or these companies can be taxed. But what will happen is these companies will create local jobs. They will make the local economy strong, and they will contribute to the center. I mean, obviously, I have always argued that there are certain states in Nigeria that are not worthy of being states, just because they cannot sustain themselves. These will play out, and peradventure states that may be struggling may decide to band together to form a union where they can actually generate their own wealth and control their own destiny. These are the type of policies that we need in Nigeria. We need to empower people. Nigerians are very hardworking, very resourceful people who, with the right environment and the right incentives, will do a lot of good things for themselves and for their country. We have a government that is top-loaded, that is bloated unnecessarily. We have legislators that are being paid, almost a lot for doing absolutely nothing. And they are not even able to recognize talents that we have within our society that they can develop and just put a right structure and a right environment in place for them to flourish. This is the reason, again, I will come back to the 2023 election, why the 2023 election is extremely important, because this is an opportunity for Nigerians to retire and fire all these old corrupt people and put people in government at all levels, municipal levels, state levels, federal levels, that will work in the interest of the people who will bring new ideas, fresh ideas to governance, and who will do a better job at making Nigeria what it should be as a nation.
Thank you, Mr. Law. I know where you are going, but we are not going there today. We're not going there today. Okay. So, Dr. Wadia, I want to ask you the same question. So, we have some very intelligent boys in the South who are using, when somebody is actually able to refine kerosene from crude oil, it's not something you can just wake up, and do. You have to have the skill, be able to buy the right equipment, and you spend money. And we have people who are doing this. Shouldn't the federal government be encouraging them to, and by helping them, maybe to get loan or to actually give them grants to set up real refineries? Because right now we import all our oil, so we need, instead of waiting for Dangote, why do we not sponsor these boys? Why don't we help them? What do you think, Dr. Awudia?
Thank you so much. The topic we are the discussion of today, I want us to look at it from a general perspective. We shouldn't just isolate the oil sector. But well, if I want to talk about specifically about the question you have asked, we must know first and foremost that if we say federal government should allow the boys because of their skills and what is going on, after all, it is their resources and stuff like that. If you say it should be like that, then we are simply calling for anarchy. We know we have so much trouble in the land. You understand? And we cannot say a resort to self-help will solve the problem, But the way we are looking at it now is, okay, let us organize these people because of the skills they have and the rest of it. I am aware that people have been encouraged to go into modular refineries. What has come of that because of resources you need in terms of capital, in terms of expertise, that's another thing altogether. But you will see the whole nation is undergoing so many, we are facing so many challenges. So that's just it. So the extent now that patriotism is no more there. We are talking basically about the whole country, but we should not forget the fact that yes, we have resources. Somebody mentioned that gold is being mined somewhere. Please, we have to understand that nobody can go anywhere to mine gold without collaboration or without license. No, some people were given licenses to do that. But if they are doing the right thing or not is what we need to do. Is what we need to examine so that we will know which direction to go. But I know that some people were given licenses to go and do mining. When we mentioned Zamfara, they are doing theirs. The inequality in the system is these are issues that we need to really deeply examine. They are not issues that they are political issues, and it borders on the inequalities going on in the system, which we must address if we say we still have one nation or one country. I'm so sorry to say Nigeria is not a nation. I think we have to get that fact right. Nigeria is a state or a country at best. It's not a nation. A nation has a definition. Yeah. And a nation cuts across border. So a state is where you have a geographical definition. So Nigeria is not a nation. We should stop deceiving ourselves. But what I'm saying essentially is, if we still want to stay together as a country, there should be equality. There should be we shouldn't, there should be equality. Don't let me talk too much about that.
Thank you.
So that we don't, because I know you mentioned that we have so many things to say, but time is not our friend.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Awudia. Thank you so much for that contribution. So, Mr. Demola, I'm coming over to you now. So, and I'm going to continue from where Dr. Awudia stopped. We live in a country where when kidnappers kidnap people in the north, the government pays. When kidnappers kidnap people in the south, you're on your own. Your family have to sort you out. That's the kind of country that we are in. We are in a country where the vigilante groups in Katsina State, they are being given AK-45. Is it AK-47, what they call it, to defend the land. Yeah. But the Amotekun in the southwest and the Ebubuago in the south, in the southeast, they can only use shakabula. They can only use then guns to defend themselves. That is the kind of country that we have.
They are not even allowed to carry gun.
Yeah. So my question to you now, coming back to the oil sector, is we have these young men, these brilliant young, some of them are first class, these industrious people who have not turned against society. They could have gone into kidnapping. They could have gone into Yahoo. But they decided they want to do something beneficial to the society. And they are actually, all the kerosene in Nigeria now, they are the one who are producing it. No kerosene is coming to Nigeria. These boys are the one, they are the source of this kerosene. But the government is now going and they're destroying their camp, destroying their equipment, destroying. And they are not tapping from the pipeline. They are drilling their own oil. They are not tapping. So why could the government, if the government could organize Ruga and give these herdsmen about 100 billion, they are starting Ruga all over the place for them. They are trying to create forests, create paths for them. Why could Nigerian government not put these boys together and get loans for them or give them grants to set up refineries? Maybe local, small ones, small refineries. Why can that not happen?
Oh, thank you, Deji. First of all, I want to correct the impression that they are drilling oil. I don't think they have that resources or the manpower or the technology to drill. They are actually tapping. They are stealing crude oil. Yes, but they are refining it locally. That is another.
Well, if they are tapping, well, it's their oil anyway. The oil belongs to them.
The oil doesn't belong to them. The oil belongs to Nigeria. You need to correct that. The oil belongs to Nigeria. It's Nigeria resources, irrespective of wherever it's located. It doesn't belong to. It belongs to the country. Okay. The fact is really unfortunate that it's only in Nigeria that we don't value talent, we don't value creativity, we don't value productivity. These children, these young people, these youth are very, very talented and creative. We are wasting a lot of generation by not tapping all this their usefulness. And we are only talking about the Southeast where the oil is. It's all over the country. There are a lot of people that we have trained that they are not having any work to do, and they are waiting and rusting all over there, and they need to survive. But and that is why a lot of some of us are here abroad as well, because our country doesn't value us. Because they don't really appreciate what we have, and because you graduated, you have all these resources and eager and very agile to serve your country, but your country is not ready to give you the avenue to serve. And that is why some of us are here. Now, what are we going to do about this? There are inequalities or discrepancies in governance. There is no fairness in governance. We don't respect each other's sovereignty. Each state has their own sovereignty, even though we belong to the same country. But that doesn't mean that we have to be treated fairly in accordance to our constitution. While some people can freely violate the constitution without the necessary law enforcement agency to effect the law or be prosecuted, and then you see the other side of the country where people little things like this, the laws is being enforced to the letter.
Yeah.
So it's one thing that we need to address as a country. What exactly are we? Are we really? Is Nigeria only a certain part of the country or the whole country in itself?
Thank you.
So we need to define that. We need a good result to define that. And it's not fair for certain section of the country to be violating and law and growing with any impunity and do whatever they want and get away with it. And it doesn't create it doesn't make people belong, having a sense of belonging that this is one nation that we're supposed to be together. So, but talking about this, the young people, I think I support your idea that yes, I don't agree with criminality. What they are doing is criminal. They shouldn't have been doing it. But we know that we have, out of it, we have seen their ingenuity, and we have seen that we can also use that as a way forward. Bring those boys together, but make them into a sort of cottage industry.
Yeah, like
a partnership, and government support them with all necessary manpower to establish them into a legal and productive venture. If they have been able to refine oil, and NNPC with all our refinery down are not able with all the so-called expatriate whatever that you have employed and all the imported material we have not been, we are still buying oil from outside, and this boy are refining oil, no matter how crude that is. Then we need to support them to make sure that they refine it legally and they meet standard.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Demola. So, because of time, there's just one more thing I want us to discuss, and I can see our time is fast spent. So I'm going to come back to you now, Lighter. Please unmute yourself. We've heard about this oil subsidy. It's a recurring decimal in the Nigerian polity. Right now, the oil that Nigerian consume is more than what every other African country. If you lump them together, the entire African continent, when you lump them together, what we consume in Nigeria is much more than what the entire African continent consumes. And I was watching the deposed emir of Kano, Lamido Sanusi, and he was saying that he does not believe that Nigeria is consuming about 60 million, what to call it, 60 million tons of oil.
Liters.
And he is saying that it means that every household, every single person on the street every day is using 6 liters, of oil, which is wrong. So we got to a situation where in the last few years, the NNPC actually was not giving any money to the federal government. The NNPC makes money, sells oil, make money, and then use the money to pay, for subsidy. So the money is going back into the bourgeoisies, all these people who in the oil industry, the oil people, these same people who are tapping the oil, they are now actually getting whatever the government now, so the 10% that we are actually selling now, they are now distributing it within themselves. Is it not the time for us, for Nigerian government, to withdraw the subsidy and allow people to legitimately import oil and sell their oil in their own price? After all, people are producing bread and they sell it at their own price. People are producing different other, it's just a product. Right, what do you think?
It's laughable. Every year that they remove subsidy in Nigeria. I don't know what. They've been removing subsidy since the time of Shagari, and up to now they are still removing subsidy. But what is the landing cost of this petroleum? Anita, how much is it? How much are we consuming? Who are we? Who are the people taking it outside the country, like West African countries? Right. I remember vividly when I was at Ife, right? for my PG studies. Tam David West came in 2009, 2008. He said this subsidy is a fraud. Buhari was there. I remember General Buhari was there. Tinubu was there. Everybody, they were there in the amphitheater. They were saying this. This stuff is a fraud. But when President Buhari got there, they didn't do anything about it again. That goes a long way to tell you that the cartel behind this oil theft in Nigeria, they are so powerful. They are untouchable. Right? If they are touchable, if they can be touched, nobody will. They will do something radical. They will come off of them and do something radical for the interest of the country. Who are these people? We don't know the amount of oil they are producing. We don't know the amount of input they are having. We don't know the amount of output. We don't know anything. We just believe that, okay, everything should just be like that. They have, I remember General Basanjo asking Badamoshi, the then petroleum PCMD also, all this stuff, that he was the head. He couldn't tell us how much they are producing every day. Right? So there is a problem. It is where you have, it is where you know that you have problem that you can build support for that problem. But you don't have, I mean, everybody are pretending as if there is no problem. And there is problem. Right? The basis of the problem have to be tackled. Right? So for us to know that there is a subsidy that some people that the subsidy go keep moving up every day. When Obasanjo was there, we knew how much he was paying for subsidy. When Jonathan came there, it's 100 times. So some people are living fat. General Buhari got there, I mean, times 100% increase. So some people are living fat. I remember Sanusi Lamido saying that some people, they will bring empty vessel down to the Nigerian coastal area, and they will record it. Nigerian government officials, they will record it as they brought oil, and they will go with it again, and they will not discharge anything, and they will collect the subsidy. Right? So that goes to tell you that organized cartel are doing this stuff, and they are untouchable in Nigeria. So every now and then they will just be laboring all this, everybody, and including us here, talking. We don't get solution to it. That is my point.
Thank you, Lighton. Thank you very much. That's a very, very wonderful point you have touched on, and I'm going to continue with Shupo. And Shupo, Nigeria is a country where, I mean, you live in Canada, you buy fuel. I am in Dublin. I'm buying oil now for, I mean, every liter of oil is €1.80. And I fill my tank with about 50 to 75 quid every 2 weeks. So if I'm going out, if it's not something important, I'm not going to travel from here to Belfast and spend about €50 fuel because I want to go and look at the masquerade. But but in Nigeria, you see a governor traveling from one place to another with a convoy of 20 cars. You see all these big people that are being subsidized. I know a friend who is going from Ibadan to his hometown. They will put about 2 cars in front, 2 cars behind, about 5 cars, all with fly and their lights on, and they are blazing on their. That's the way this subsidy is being spent. And it's the same mentality that African leaders have taken, as their priority. In the last United Nations meeting, while European leaders are coming to the United Nations in buses and in taxis and Uber, African head of state, they are flying in private jets. You understand? So this is the same culture that we need. So I am thinking, instead of giving this about now, I think this year now, the budget, the subsidy is going to be about 3 or 4 trillion naira. Instead of giving this money to all this pot-bellied, fat bourgeoisie, why do you not just take this money, divide it by the number of Nigerians who are poor, and give it to them as social subsidies? Why do you have to be feeding the rich people? Why are you feeding them? Super.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think you know, to look at the whole situation, one of the reasons why subsidy is very popular in Nigeria is because that is about the only thing that Nigerians can say that they benefit from the system, and I mean the average Nigerian. I mean, we are talking about a country now where universities have been shut down for how long? For almost about 7 months, not in school. You know, no good healthcare system. So there is nothing that people can say that they are benefiting from the system, you know, beyond that. And I think, again, going back to the fact that our leaders are out of touch and out of ideas. There are ways that you can make subsidy available to the people who need it. And at the same time, people who can afford to pay the normal price of gas can do the same. When people file their taxes, for example, you know, in advanced societies, if your income is below a certain level, you get, you know, some kind of a rebate. And there's a way that the government can do it. They can put the money directly into your bank account. And then, you know, if you choose to use the money for something else, that's up to you. But, you know, that could be something that you could use towards, you know, as a bit of a rebate towards the purchase of gas. So there are many ways that government can do this subsidy in a way that people who truly need it can benefit from it. People who don't, you know, who can afford will pay the full price. The problem is that the people in power do not have these ideas, and they will not allow people who have these ideas to implement a lot of these policies that will benefit the average Nigerian. That is the problem we have. So to your point, you know, subsidy, you know, if you implement it properly, you don't need to do much. When the people who bring the refined products, you know, to register so that they can collect subsidy can no longer collect that subsidy, what are they going to do? They'll sell their products.
Yeah.
So what we need is a very good, transparent system that can be created where you won't get anything until you file your taxes. And when you file your taxes, you tell the government exactly how much you made. So if, you know, if if you are an entrepreneur who's running a massive corporation and you're now saying that you only made 10,000 in a year, well, you know, that's up to you to prove. But there are mechanisms that you can put in place where the subsidy, and this cuts across all levels. Same thing for healthcare. If you have a national healthcare system where, you know, people who have not, you can again give them certain subsidies that they can use towards these things. So a social welfare system, again, you can rank it. You know, how much money you collect will depend exactly on how much money you make, and how much money you file in your annual taxes. The challenge we have is that we have leaders who benefited from the system and are unwilling to modernize the system and make it even better for their children and their grandchildren. And this is, again, the reason why the 2023 election is very, very important for Nigeria. Because it's not that there are no good ideas in the system. People with ideas are not allowed to govern. And that is part of the problem that we have as a country.
Thank you very much, Shufo. So again, we are not going to go in that direction that you want to lead us to. So thank you for those wonderful, wonderful words and babble. Dr. Wodia, I'm coming to you now. Please unmute yourself. Please unmute. So we have seen this over and over, government after government after government. Before they get to power, I'm going to remove the subsidy. It doesn't exist. And then they get there and nothing happens. So is this a case of what the Ekiti people call yamutere? When you get there, you just grab your own. This is your own time. Is that what you are witnessing in Nigeria?
Well, that basically is what we are witnessing. There is no doubt about it. When we talk about subsidy Subsidy means you are given a cushion in terms of the pricing. The price is supposed to be 10 naira because of welfare and making it available to everybody because it's essential commodity. You are reducing it and you are taking care of the difference. You know, unfortunately, if you go into the analysis of the issue of subsidy, it may take a long time. I mean, that is, it may consume our time on this forum. But the fact is that, do we have the data? How many vehicles do we have in Nigeria? Who are the consumers of the product? Where are we not exporting this thing to local? I mean, to what do we call it? These West African countries where the prices are much more, and who are the people going into that? These are the issues involved. It all borders on the fact that we are not sincere. So that's why I'm aligning with the fact that it's Yamutere stuff kind of thing, because if we are serious about it, we can police our borders properly. Then we can monitor what we are doing. What is wrong with our refineries? If now there is upsurge in the price of oil in the international market, we should be benefiting from that. But we are edging. Our prices locally. We are using international pricing because we are not refining. So you export at 10 billion, you are bringing in at 30 billion. Does that make any economic sense? It doesn't. Even at that, you now want to peg the price so that people can have access to it, just like the previous contributor said. Subsidy is the only thing that we can say everybody in Nigeria is benefiting, especially the poor masses. Because by the time you remove it, it means maybe a liter of oil that is going for 165 naira now can go to like 300 naira, 600 naira. Then you know the implication of that. And the multiplier of that on the economy is unimaginable. So you are at times confused because you are dealing with people that are not sincere, that are not patriotic, that are in power. We know the right things to do, but we are shying away from doing it because it is paying us off. That's why I will subscribe to the Yamutere stuff, because government in, government out, they will say they want to remove it. When they get there, they use it. It is not only subsidy we are talking about. Do you know there is what we call? I'm sure you know that there is what we call what was this agency that transportation differential. You know, the oil drops, it gets to Lagos, let's say for 10 naira. You have to move it to the north, and you have to pay a price for moving it to the north. For you to pay the same price in Lagos and in Borno, the government is taking care of that. And a lot of people are benefiting from it, even when they have not moved any product. They will submit papers to, what's the name of this agency now? The name just escaped me. You know, I'm sure we all know about it. So we are talking about so people that are not sincere, people that are not ready to serve people but themselves. So this is the challenge. And in every sphere of our life, of our economy, of the country, this is what is going on, whichever way you want to look at it. So, like he said, 2023 is going to be a defining moment in the life of the country. I hope, and I sincerely hope we get it right. But I have so many doubts because there are so many lacunas here and there that we have to contend with, that whoever comes in may even have to contend with. That is even if the establishment will allow the person to perform. So we have so many challenges. So it's not only about subsidy. The issue with subsidy is the issue with the pipe stealing of oil in the Niger Delta. It's the same issue. It's lack of patriotism. People will see something going this way, they turn their eyes the other way because they are benefiting from it. So everybody is like a free for all now. Everybody is just doing whatever he likes. You know, you are even going in the traffic, you are buying oranges, you are paying for 5 oranges. By the time you open it, you see that only 2 are good out of 5.
Thank
You
you.
know, so it's a whole lot of problem we're having on our hands. So
Okay.
until we sit down and we decide we want to move forward with sincerity, with commitment, Nigeria, we don't have much problem. Our major problem is lack of patriotism, is lack
Thank
of
you. Thank you,
sincerity and
Dr. Wodia.
commitment.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much.
Thank you, Dr. Wodia. Demola, I'm going to come to you now. You are the last man standing. Now, the government is spending trillions to subsidize Nigerians. Go to the street of Nigerians. There are no jobs. The people are impoverished. People can't send themselves to school. People cannot buy Panadol when they have a headache. People are hungry. They can't buy Coca-Cola. They can't buy bread. I mean, I got a lot of texts and emails every day of people asking me for money in the last few years. So, and these are the people we are subsidizing. But the money goes into the rich guys. So, if you are a government, if you have a child that you are subsidizing and you can see the child is sickly, is not you can't see the subsidy on the people. You not think it's time to remove that subsidy and actually consider giving people social welfare benefits instead? Please unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you, Vijay. There's no transparency in Nigeria, and that is the problem. We're talking about subsidies, or they're talking about subsidies. Yeah, remove subsidies. What subsidies are they removing? We don't even know what they are doing. Like, what is the subsidy? We don't know it. They only tell you, oh, we spent so much on subsidy. How did you arrive at that figure? Nobody's telling us anything.
3 trillion.
What is the filling station? No, what is the, if without subsidy, how much will have been a liter of petrol in Nigeria? We don't know. And they're not ready to tell you. Because when you might they tell you, say, okay, we are going to pay that money, stop all the subsidy. Let's see how much is the NNPC will declare that they actually had. It's all fraud. It's all lie. Obasanjo 2 to 3 times during his regime tried to say he removed subsidy, he increased the price of petrol. Yes, every year we are coming back that there is still subsidy. Where is the subsidy coming from? Now, what are we subsidizing? Is it crude oil are we subsidizing or refined oil? Because if it's refined oil, we don't refine anything.
Imported oil. We refine with imported oil.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yes, if it's refined oil, we don't refine anything. Why are we not refining? Why do we have to buy oil? Because so that we can increase subsidy. It's penny wise, pound foolish. All this money they are saying they are spending on subsidy for taking our crude oil, selling it cheaply out there, and buying it back, and now say, yeah, we cannot, you people cannot afford to buy it. People that buy it from us are afford to buy it in their own country. We that are all the one, we cannot even afford to buy it, so you are subsidizing us. It's all lie.
Corruption.
It's all lie. It's all pure corruption at all levels. There is no sincerity in whatever they call subsidy. They need to tell us now, look, this is what subsidy is. And even when they think that this is becoming too much, what effort have they done to make sure that this subsidy is addressed? Now, NNPC now come to a stage which they say, okay, we collected 3 trillion, we subsidized 4 trillion, so you own us. So why don't we stop, close shop and then start import oil? And then we know that at least our crude oil is safe. Because there's nothing we are getting from this oil.
Demola, thank you. Let me pause you there. We are actually out of time. Thank you so much for those wonderful words, Lwago. So we've come to the end of today's deliberation, and I want to thank everybody for coming. Just before we leave, I'm going to give you guys 1 minute each. Please, just 1 minute. I want you to look into the camera and advise the Nigerian government what they need to do about this oil business. What is going on about oil in Nigeria? Light, I'm going to come to you first. Please unmute yourself. Unmute. Yeah. So, what is your social media declaration? What is your social media declaration for today? Just 1 minute, please. 1 minute.
My social media declaration is not far-fetched. What I want to enjoy, I just want to enjoy all Nigerians, right? To be sincere with everything they are doing. Nigeria belongs to all of us. And we don't have any country apart from Nigeria. Every one of us, either one way or the other, by not being truthful, by not being sincere, by being caught in the will of the country, anything what we are doing that is remotely or is not connected to the development of the country. Let us desist from it. Even at the price of pain, let us do away with it. To make all these countries that are great, the citizen, they sacrifice one thing or the other for their country to be great. So let us make a sacrifice to be and bequeath a better Nigeria to the coming generation.
Thank you. Thank you, Lighton. Thank you. Mr. Lolawal, please unmute yourself. So please, what is your social media declaration? I want you to look into the camera and give the Nigerian government a good advice.
Well, my advice is not going to be to the Nigerian government, it will be to the Nigerian people. And what I will tell the Nigerian people is that corruption in Nigeria is institutionalized. It is performed by people in high places, and Nigerians need to fire corrupt officials so that Nigeria can actually tackle the corruption problem for the country to truly move forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lawal. So, Dr. Awudia, if you were to advise the Nigerian government concerning this oil theft and oil subsidy, what advice will you be giving to the Nigerian government?
Well, I will, like the former contributor, I will sincerely say that power belongs to the people. In the social contract, we have ceded our rights to a group of people that we call government. And we do this by electing those people into office. We thank God for democracy. So we should be circumspect. We should be very, very discerning. And so when we go to the polls next year, by the grace of God, we should weigh the options very critically. And we should not be too sentimental. We should not be too sentimental. Vote the right people who will deliver the goods. Don't look at the mundane issues. Look at people who will deliver the goods. That is my advice to the people of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Odia. Mr. Ademola Disa, what's your social media declaration for today?
To the people, to Nigerians in general, and to the government in particular, we need to divulge power from the center. It is crippling our development. It's not allowing Nigeria to move forward. Power needs to be divulged to the regions. Let the regions manage their resources. They are managing it well. Before the intervention of the coup, each of the regions are competing for progress, and they are exploiting their resources and bettering their people. We need to go back to the basis and go back and divulge power, right? Not only from resource from refinery, petroleum, including power, including even transportation, either rail or even air freight. Let's divulge it. Let states develop. Let each state try to be creative. Most states are depending on sitting down and waiting for for money from the central. Why?
Okay, thank you.
Central never produce anything. Central gets it from the state. Then why state have to go begging to the central for them to survive?
Thank you, Demola. Thank you, Demola, for your wonderful contribution. We come to the end of today's deliberations, and I have enjoyed every bit of this conversation, and I'm sure that you as a viewer, you will enjoy it. And let me go to Olatunde, who is based in America. Mr. Olatunde, thank you so much for your wonderful contribution.
Thank you for having me.
For Mr. Olalawa, based in Canada, thank you so much for your wonderful brainy contribution.
Thank you for having me today.
Also, our guest speaker today, Mr. Dr. Taya Odia. Thank you for your wonderful, wonderful contribution. We really enjoy your company today. Please unmute. Please unmute. Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. So, and Mr. Ademola Desa, who is based in the United Kingdom. Mr. Ademola Desa, thank you for your wonderful contribution also.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you all our viewers. Again, if you have not subscribed, please push that subscription button. It's free of charge. You're not going to be charged for it. If you like this video, please share it with your friend and click on the like button. And my name is Dejola. I'm in Dublin, Republic of Ireland, and we hope to see you again next week, Sunday at 7 p.m. GMT. Thank you. God bless you all.